Okay, welcome to video number 2. As predicted in video number 1, today is the last day I get to ride this bike. 2018 R1200RT from BMW. I've owned it from new. I'm aware I'm not holding this camera very well, but never mind. I've never actually done this. I've never taken sort of round the bike shot. So I thought, might as well do that before I hand it in and trade it in for a different bike. I'm still going to leave you guessing as to what that is. Right, let's head on down to the bike shop then. So I guess the big question is, why am I trading this in? Especially as I love this bike so much. I've had it now for 3 years, almost 3 years, and it's been magnificent. Obviously because of what happened in 2020, it's not got as many miles on it as I would have wanted to ride. I took it up to the Peak District a couple of times, and I've taken it on, 1.5 to 2 hour rides around the local counties. So why trade it in? Well, the bike I'm getting, I've test ridden it. It is more powerful, it is obviously more responsive, it is smoother, it is every bit as comfortable, and it's just as well. I guess the longer I keep this, the less valuable it is, the less trading value it has, the more difficult it is to then go and get the latest and greatest down the line. So, mixed emotions for me. I don't know, how helpful it is to get emotional over a motorcycle. Obviously, I guess many people do. It's going to be a wrench to see this one go. It's been a hard decision leading up to today, because paying off the rest of the value of the bike and keeping it was definitely a viable option. This is a magnificent bike, I love it to death. So why change it? Well, one reason is the older the bike gets, the less trading value it has. If I want to be someone who can afford to have a new bike every 3 years, that's, I guess, something I've got to think about. And I've test ridden the new bike, and so far so good. I mean, it's a great bike. It's more powerful than this one. The power delivery is more instant, smoother. The gear shifter is smoother. It has a few more techie bits. It handles just as well. It's just as comfortable. It has just the same amount of luggage space. So what is the overriding factor? Well, it really is the performance, the engine, the smooth gearbox. It even looks similar. Okay, so there's nothing which says, well, I absolutely must get rid of this clunky old 1200 and get this new bike. So it's just the engine, gearbox, and the residual value. So, is there anything I don't like? After 3 years of ownership, is there anything I don't like about this bike? Well, I guess there's the weight, okay? It does disappear when you're moving. and it doesn't take you to be going very fast for it to disappear. But when you're coming to a stop, you absolutely have to be concentrating on keeping that bike upright as you come to a stop. But the same is true for the new bike. I guess the engine noise isn't as spectacular as other bikes. But if that was your priority, you wouldn't be buying this one. And some people like the boxer engine sound, you know? Some people like it. There's not much in the way of places to put cameras and mobile phones, because this has a cast, is it called a headstock? And it's really hard to find places to attach such things. There doesn't seem to be very much of a place anywhere around the front fairing to mount cameras. The only other place I've actually found to mount cameras is on the rear handguards. And that's using a G-clamp with angled grippers. Oh, yeah, and I also absolutely do not trust suction mounts. I don't care how good they are, I don't trust them. Maybe I'll come to trust them, but I don't know. What else? I had to buy a new screen. This stock screen that I've put back on is useless. It is utterly useless. I don't know why BMW bother with it. Clutching at straws here, aren't I? Well, it's not useless, okay, but at motorway speeds, you know that you haven't got a tall one. So this one has the quick shifter blipper, the Sport Assist, the Shift Assist Pro, whatever the hell they call it. And this here, the 2018 model, is still a little bit clunky. You have to know when you can use it. So if you've got the engine under load, under acceleration, got the transmission under load, a few thousand revs, click the thing up and it's nice and smooth. I wouldn't necessarily use it between first and second. It's a bit clunky then. And if you're using the downshifter, just make sure you've got the throttle closed, like that, nice and smooth there. Once again, you probably want the clutch in when going down from second to first. But you know, a decent attempt for a slightly earlier technology, and this is the thing, the new bike I'm picking up, the quick shifter on that is much smoother all through, so that is definitely a reason to think about this one. But you know, it's the technology of the time, isn't it? The width of the bike, you're not going to be doing much in the way of filtering. You can filter, just not in the tightest spaces. And the wing mirrors here, I can't remember exactly how. I think it was something like 993 millimeters or something. And the luggage on the sides is actually about a centimetre wider than that. Which practically means if you can get the mirrors through, then you can get the luggage through. Because if you're trying to squeeze through a gap where you have less than a centimetre of space, then you're probably making the wrong choice. But here's the thing, sitting behind stuff in a traffic jam is not really a massive problem on this bike. You're not uncomfortable. Because the riding position is not a sports bike. You know, I had a ZX6R for 20 years, and for the last few years I didn't ride it much because I was getting to that age where the weight on the wrists was becoming a real problem. That's one of the reasons. One of the reasons I didn't ride it. That's not the spot. this bike, no such worries, and especially when you think now you can switch on your cruise control in a village. It's like 30 miles an hour, and you go, oh, 30 miles an hour. But you kick on the cruise control on this thing, and you take all the weight off your wrists. And you still have to pay attention, but it means you're not gripping this throttle and trying to hold it in exactly the same place all the time. I was about to say case in point here, but these guys are going slower than 30. But even this, you know, comfortable as you like, no weight on wrists, stable ride. This was supposed to be about the things I didn't like, wasn't it? Here we are, just popping along. This is one of those annoying long villages in the Cambridgeshire, Essex area. Fiddling along, no pressure on the throttle at all, no worries on the wrists. And you know that when the nationals come along, you can start riding fast again. It's almost like having a bit of a rest. Whereas on a sports bike, you're hunched over the handlebars, you're going, oh, come on, I want to go fast, let's get to the end of this village. This is really painful. Nothing like that on this. So anyway, let's try and think back to things I didn't like about this bike. I probably covered everything. I guess the looks. Okay, it's on the whole On the whole, I tend to think it's quite a good looking bike. There's just that angle from the front quarter where you've got the red fairing on the top looking nice and big and wide, and the wide boxer engine just kind of melting into the background, so you don't notice it. It's got that 18% grey colour. It's the same reason that lampposts are painted the way they are, and signpost supports are painted the way they are, so that you don't notice them. And so the overall picture from that angle is this great big bulbous top half of the fairing, and then the skinny front tyre. And it's not a massively skinny front tyre, it just looks it. It just has this look. Welcome to episode 2, part 2. I've now handed in my old bike, my old trusty R1200RT, and I'm now riding the new one, and by the magic of Insta360, here it is! I know. I guess those of you who paid attention to the thumbnail might actually have expected it, might actually have gone, oh, you know what, I think I know the outline of that bike, I think I know what he's doing. Yes, having espoused the love I have for the RT, and having said how similar my new bike is going to be to the old one, it's not exactly a massive secret. To be honest, I'm probably being a bit cheeky doing this kind of video just as my second video ever of the channel. However, here we are. This is the R1250RT, the 2021 model, with the fancy new front end. and it looks like the bike's about to switch itself off. That was rather fortuitous, wasn't it? Look how cool that was. So the bike's just switched itself off and brought the screen down on camera. Awesome. Shame it's not a nicer day for it. I just parked up in this car park and a few spots of rain started falling, so that's a bit of a downer on my special day. Never mind. So let's get going for a bit. Okay. I can't leave the loo now. So I've yet to do various things, like I have yet to connect my mobile phone up, so I won't be using the sat nav. I have yet to reset the mount that my mobile phone was actually on. My suspicion is that I'm going to be torn between using that mount and using other sat-nav software from time to time, and the ease of just slapping the phone in that second pocket. Let's do the keyless thing. Let's the handbrake on. There was a little bit of a kick there. So put the heel hold on while I'm doing this. The observant of you might notice that the screen is just a little bit different from the one I had in the first video. That screen won't fit this bike. The redesign of the front end means that my third-party screen will not fit, so on this bike I've gone with BMW's taller screen. Let's take a scenic route home. And what it should do, when you'll start riding, that screen should automatically move up. Yes, it does. There we go. I know a good ride home. It's a bit silly to be saying that, actually. It's one of my favourite rides home. So I know it quite well. Okay. So yes, I guess for those of you who watched my first video, and if you stayed around from the first part of this video, my new bike is not actually going to be any kind of surprise to you, is it? It really isn't. What can I say? The RT is just a supreme bike.